List. Negotiate like a prop. Pirates have a connived six crew members of the ship operating in the Gulf of Guinea, near the west coast of Africa. The corporate owner of the vessel and employer of the victims has called me in from England to help negotiate their release. My first step is to calm everyone down. We can navigate this situation from a place of agitation in the high stress. My second is to choose someone from the corporate crisis team whom I trust to interact with the bad guys. A person who can communicate in the right language and dialect, who seems emotionally stable and resilient, and who, the most important, will be able to listen and connect with the people holding his colleagues a quickly decision. Over several weeks, he and I sit side by side in the corporate office, 16 hours a day, with a mobile phone in the front of us on the table. Of course, we take breaks to sleep and eat, especially when we're not expecting a call. But our focus is not that phone. And when the kidnappers do rush out, or were told to make contact, we turn our attention full to it. They initially demand 5 million in ransom. I note from experience and training that if we agree to pay it immediately, they'll all ask for more, or they'll take it and then hit another of the company's chip next week. So, with my coaching, John begins communicating with the connivers. That is a lot of money with which we don't have. We need time to see how much we can raise it. Let's speak again in 2 days. Later, you seem upset that we can't move faster, but I assure you we are trying our best. Please look after the hostages. Later, okay, let me make sure I'm understanding you. If we deliver the cash as agreed, you promise to relax and return the hostages or harmed, and not forest demands or delays. Our aim is not just to stall for time, but also to build rapport and trust with the other sides. This is critical to say in high stakes situations. With open minded, curious, and non that conversation, John can ascertain what the connivers' real needs are. Beyond their surface level demands in order to end these crises. Those needs included the respect and a sense of control, along with reassurance that they won't be ambushed, arrested, or killed during the handover of the ransom. Eventually, because he has kept his own ego in check, refraining from hostility and demonstrating empathy and deep listening juniors their confidence, and with it the right to influence them and the seek cooperation so they believe him when he says the company can pay only 300 and not a dollar more. The deal is struck the hostages are safely returned and not repeat attacks occur. Over a decade's long career as a kidnapping and extortion negotiator, And I handled many similarly sensitive cases all over the world. If I wasn't helping secure the reliance of hostages in Africa, Latin America, or the Middle East, I was confronting extraordinary cyber attacks in the United States, Europe, or Asia. Doubt my experience, observation, and conversations with the other experts in the field, I developed a deep understanding of what works and what doesn't in high stakes negotiations. More recently, as an advisor to executives and corporations, I've learned that the same rules can be applied to yield better outcomes in everyday business negotiations, whether you're asking for a higher salary, lowering for a destination than researchers, or hammering out the details of a contract with a client or a supplier. No matter the situation, negotiators must remember one golden rule. It's not about you. The only way to move someone else in your direction and find solution on which you can agree is to listen deeply and empathetically, ensuring that the other people feel seen, heard, and understood. That is particularly powerful when the two sides are in disagreement. It allows you to build trust, manage expectations, and find ways to meet the other party's key needs. Is what I call level 5 listening, and it is fundamental to effective negotiation. As Ernest Hemingway once said, when people talk, listening completely, most people never listening. Negotiators who do set themselves apart, but it takes discipline of mind and body to accomplish, particularly when emotions are running high. The right mindset and a toolkit of techniques can help. The level 5 mindset. Many people listen only long enough to get the gist of what the other side is saying before they begin formulation a relation for or turn out to check a test or brothers with another issue in their heads. This level 1 listening might be described as intermittent listening, and it won't help you understand your counterpart well enough to judge successful outcome is also disrespectful. Level 2 listening is always doing so only to report. You pay attention to the incoming message until it hits a trigger, at which point you jump in to argue a point. Such an interjection undermines communication and rapport because you're clearly focusing on your agenda at the expenses of your counterparts. In level 3 listening, you're looking for logic, using interference to pin down the substance of and reasons for what the other person is saying. This is an improvement because you're trying to understand that person's argument, but since it happened by since it's happening only in your head is not enough. The goal is to shift your full attention to your counterpart and gather more information. That happens with level 4 listening when you begin to tune into the emotion as well as the logic behind the other person's position and respond in ways that show you're aware of them. You also begin to prompt more dialogue with a comment such as it sounds like you're frustrated with other counteroffer or you seem passionate about this proposal. Level 5 takes that empathic curiosity at step 14. Now you're listening to better understand and interpret your counterpart's self-perception and perspective. That allows you to ask questions that promote discover and insight on both sides and establish rapport so that you can begin to exert influence and achieve cooperation or collaboration, which shall be the outcome of all negotiations. Some call this active listening and third concept by the psychologist Carl Rogers and his colleague Richard Fason to describe a process where we get insights, the minds of our counterparts and truly grasp what they communication. More than that, the two wrote in their 1977 sorry 1957 book entitled Listening. We must convey to the speaker that we are seeing things from his point of view. Tools of trade. But how exactly can you prove to negotiation partners that you're paying this level of attention to their logic, emotion, perspective, and ultimately wants and needs so that they begin to see us a collaborator rather than an adversary in my work? We use the mnemonic more pies to remember the tennis for both ensuring and demonstration level 5 listening. This is not a box taking exercise, but a way to train your focus so that you're better able to understand and empathize with your counterpart. Minimal encourage very short and simple vocal prompts such as and really then whom or hope go on and interesting are important ways to choose that you are remind turning into your counterpart, particularly when you're on the phone or the other person has been speaking for a while. They aim to encourage the other persons to keep talking and feel understood. Pace your intercession at a reasonable rate. For example, one encourager for every few sentences, and if is an in-person conversation, ensure that your face expression and body language match your tone of voice. Whether it's incapable, neutral, or agreeable, don't get distracted and throw in a misplaced encourager or overuse words like great and okay because they suggest that you understand or agree and can thus bring pers- the person to a stop. Open question. Encourage people to speak freely and to share their side of the story, thus revealing more about what is important or not. To them, the lines they can or won't cross and areas where compromise might be possible. They help you by time, date, clear up misunderstanding and diffuse emotions because they force others to really consider their answer and potential solutions rather than give a nap girls yes or not to an idea or unthinkingly choose between options you've present. Good open questions start with what or how. For example, what is the real issue? How will this affect the party or situation involved? What has to happen for you to decide actions? What other options do we have? Avoid avoid questions that begin with why? Because they can sound accusatory and judgmental, for example, which a client who is threatening to switch service providers instead of asking, why do you want to leave? Consider what are they offering that we don't? Or could we do what could we do to make you stay? Keep it in sample and focus on topic at a time. Avoid jargon and abstract words or ideas. And then, after you've asked your question, stay quiet and give the person time to fully answer. Try also to encourage an session of questions rather than letting it feel like a one-sided interview. I should note that the closed question designed to elicit a yes or a no can be helpful too, particularly when you need specific information. For example, do you have do you have another offer on the table? But too many of them can sound like interrogation leading question. For example, which of our competitors is trying to pull at you should be avoided when possible because they give the information that you're making assumptions, hooting or rushing to an answer. Reflecting back or mirroring the last few words or key paragraphs. Use be your counterpart is another way to demonstrate that you've heard them keep them talking and created rapport. In a fast-paced negotiation, it can also give you time to calm your emotions and formulate an appropriate response or open question. Imagine a saboteur training to unleash a virus unless has paid by midnight a virus, or a supplier yelling at you that your company should pay its bills faster. Be carefully choosing which words to mirror. You can also steer the conversation in the direction you'd like. For example, imagine that you're lodging your boss to add another full-time employee to your team, and he tells you there's no room in the budget this fiscal year. Running the budgets would be reflecting response that might prompt him to elaborate and provide both of with an opportunity to discuss other options. Of course, the other person may misinterpret your repetition as a challenge, but as an easy way to encourage elaboration. Reflecting should be part of your toolkit. Emotional labeling is way to help your counterparts rein in their feelings and look with their action and basis training options. Thus, they preserving their ability to think logically and rationally. In my field, we call this named to tamed it. It involves offering a non-mental observation about emotion. You feel other people are experiencing the problem they're facing, the way they're acting, or the bills they have in the way that allows them to agree or disagree with you. For example, it feels like you're annoyed with me, or it sounds like the money is important to you. Other phrases started include, it seems like, I sense, that you, and I get impression that even if you label the emotion behavior or you encourage your indication that you're paying attention and want to better understand your counterpart. Every shift in tone, body language, or argument content is another opportunity to acknowledge what the person is going doubt. Paraphrasing involves translating your understanding of what the other person has said in your own words to ensure that you're on the same page. Focus on content rather than trying to use the exact same language. That's the marriage in which I discuss theory. Wise to start include so it seems like you're saying is, can I share with you where I think you're at with this and why I'm having here is. In kidnapping, pharmacy will always be used in the response to reason demands to ensure that there are no misunderstandings. It has the same use in the business settings. Just make sure to give others a chance to clarify or amend what you refer back to them by saying something like correct me if I'm wrong here or do I have that right? Most often you will wait for a pause in your counterpart's page to insert your paraphrase. This can be another way to stay for a time if you're unsure about where to take conversation next. But it is also one of two race moments when it's okay to interrupt and change understanding. I statements allowed to explain how the situation of negotiation is affecting you and encourage your counterpart toward change without duration blame. Include three elements behavior or situation. Describe what the person has done or what has happening, feeling, how is affects, and consequence, what is the result was. For example, you might say, when you dismissed my proposal immediately, I felt frustrated because it seems like you don't value what I have to offer. While such message and the aren't confronting, they do lack misalignments and potential negotiation barriers that will need focus, attention, and care. Effective pause. Give your counterpart space to collect their doubts, keep talking, or even when in ways that can be formative for you. All you need to do is refrain from responding after they seem to have finished speaking until the pause begins to feel slightly uncomfortable, and then hold it for a few seconds more. I've seen this used to great effect when police officers interview suspect witnesses or victims because the most people feel compelled to feel the silence inexperienced communicators often find themselves jumping in. If you are one, try to resist. To this day I kept the stress ball with the leather weight on my desk. It then stands for both way and why and are talking. Summarizing, life paraphy involves offering you understanding of someone has just say what the difference is that repeat that the person words rather than using your own to help them see their argument more clearly and build truth. This technique is best used when your counterpart has delivered a lot of information or a long, rambling narrative. You're adding value why by condense it into manageable. Tune and hyphen the key points, for example, to the progresses in your play to expand your team. You might say, if I understand you correctly, you don't have the budget in this fiscal year. but a small personal allocation might open up in the next cycle. So I should write you a memo proposing a job describing for a potential and I hire is that a face you marry this give the boss chance to correct from report to request. When you use the techniques to become a level listener, you both your capacity for empathy, your ability to find common ground, and your changes again counterparts comparison. As the forensic psychologist at the University of Liverpool, Professor Lawrence Allison, explained in his book, Rapport, Writing with Emily Asson, when we are able to extract someone's core values and values. We often find that they are more similar to ours than we imagine. It adds that even if they're not, we don't have to agree, but we should seek to understand. Allison recommends that negotiators hold themselves accountable by asking themselves for questions and being honest or trying to manipulate the other people's. And I begin empathy and seeing things from that person's perspective or use concentration in my own point of view. And I respecting and reinforcing people autonomy and right to choose or I'm trying force them to do what I want. I listening carefully and reflecting to show a deeper understanding and build intimacy and connection. Ultimately, the most effective amount has eventually must be shown empathy, listening, and the other elements of rapport building to control assertions and requests. When you have done the work to fully unemotionally and then mentally understand your counterpart's needs, interests, and perspectives, and to ensure that the person knows and the truth that you don't so. You earn the right to state your own needs, interests, and perspectives, make specific requests, and suggest solutions. That's what I help John do with the Knaipers and what I know do with the Seikos as leadership and negotiation coach and consultant in the corporate world. For example, I recently worked with several newly promoted leaders in global professionally service fin who were avoiding difficult conversations with clients. Once they learn and level 5 listening and more pies they felt more comfortable negotiation and were better able to achieve deals that worked for both parties. In another case, this mindset and toolkit helped the head of a small banking and investment company that had recently been acquired by a large one to navigate discussion around layers and exit space with his new colleagues and affect employees. Successful negotiation start with managing your own emotion, but that's where your self-focus should stop. The rest is all about your counterparts well, listening where listen well and show them you're doing so. That's how you build trust and ultimately find mutually agreeable solutions. This is all the article managing yourself. I explain in Spanish the summary for this reading. El texto habla de cómo ser un negociador. Se enfoca mucho que se debe entender cómo piensan las otras personas y saber cómo negociar. Es una carrera de negociador de secuestros, de extorsiones. El autor del texto estaba intentando dar como a través de experiencias, observación y conversaciones que han tenido con otros expertos o la experiencia que ha tenido en este campo, una comprensión profunda de cómo realizar una buena negociación, cuáles son los puntos, cuáles son esas pausas, cómo debe ser el perfil de la persona negociadora. O sea, debe escuchar, debe tener muy buena focus, debe saber muy bien analizar a la otra persona, tiene que tener muy buena interpretación, comprender, autopercepción. También ofrece ciertas herramientas como cuáles preguntas se deben de hacer, cuál es el objetivo de la otra persona, tanto emocional, hacer como para garantizar la estabilidad de las víctimas o de los clientes. También se habla como a través como que para ver la empatía, qué está pasando por esa persona, cuáles pueden ser las posibles soluciones, cómo podemos construir la verdad o cómo encontrarla o cuáles son los puntos de por qué están haciendo eso, cómo buscar una negociación entre las partes o, en otras palabras, cooperación de la contraparte. Y eso es todo lo que se habla en el texto en un breve resumen.